Marcus wiped the sweat from his brow as he finished mopping the grand hallway of the Draconic Academy. The crystalline floors gleamed under the ethereal light of floating orbs, reflecting the magnificent murals that depicted ancient dragon legends. For 3 years, he had been the Academy's sole human employee, a janitor in an institution dedicated to educating the galaxy's most powerful species. The dragons of Pyrathia were legendary throughout the cosmos. Their mastery of elemental magic, their vast intellect, and their millennia-long lifespans made them the undisputed apex species of the Galactic Council. Their young were sent to this academy to learn the ancient arts that had made their race dominant for eons. Marcus had never expected to be more than invisible maintenance staff. Humans were considered a curiosity at best, a short-lived, magically inept species that had only recently achieved spaceflight. Most dragons barely acknowledged his existence, stepping around him as if he were another piece of furniture. Everything changed on a Tuesday morning when he discovered young Zephyra crying behind the Academy's library. The dragonling, no bigger than a large horse despite being 70 years old, sat with her magnificent silver scales dulled by distress. Her lessons in flame manipulation had been disastrous again, resulting in another public humiliation before her peers. "Hey there," Marcus said gently, setting down his cleaning supplies. "Rough day?" Zephyra looked up with luminous golden eyes. "You're the cleaning human. Why do you care?" Marcus sat cross-legged on the floor, bringing himself to her eye level. "Sometimes an outside perspective helps. What's troubling you?" The dragonling explained her struggles with the traditional dragon teaching methods. The instructors demanded she channel her inner fire through ancient meditative techniques passed down for millennia, but something about the approach never clicked for her. Marcus listened thoughtfully. "You know, back on Earth, we learned that everyone processes information differently. Have you tried thinking about fire as a tool rather than an extension of your soul?" Over the following weeks, Marcus began meeting with Zephyra during his breaks. Instead of the mystical approaches her dragon instructors used, he taught her practical, human-style problem-solving. He showed her how to break down complex magical concepts into smaller, manageable steps. He encouraged her to experiment, to fail safely, and to learn from mistakes rather than seeking perfection. "Think of your flame like cooking," Marcus suggested one afternoon. "You don't just blast the ingredients with maximum heat. You control the temperature, adjust it, use it purposefully." The breakthrough came during Zephyra's next examination. Instead of the usual explosive failure, she produced a controlled, steady flame that impressed even the ancient dragon masters. Word spread quickly through the academy. Soon, other struggling dragonlings began seeking out the human janitor during their free time. Marcus found himself running informal tutoring sessions, teaching young dragons everything from basic physics, principles to emotional regulation techniques that humans had developed over centuries of psychological study. The dragon faculty initially viewed this development with skepticism, but as their struggling students began excelling, curiosity replaced disdain. Master Pyrion, the Academy's eldest instructor, finally approached Marcus directly. "Human," the massive golden dragon rumbled. "Your teaching methods are unconventional yet effective." "How?" Marcus shrugged, still holding his mop. "We're not magical, so we had to get creative. We learned to break problems down, to approach them from multiple angles to adapt when one method doesn't work. Maybe being lesser taught us some useful things." The transformation was gradual, but unmistakable. Dragons began greeting Marcus in the hallways. Faculty members consulted him on curriculum design. The Academy's success rates soared as traditional dragon wisdom merged with human adaptability. It was then that Seraphina, the Academy's director and most revered dragon mother, summoned Marcus to her private chambers. The ancient dragoness was magnificent beyond description, her scales shifting through every color of flame as she moved. Her presence filled the vast chamber with an aura of power that had intimidated galactic senators and conquered worlds. Marcus, "Chen of Earth," she began, her voice like distant thunder, "you have accomplished what I thought impossible." Marcus stood respectfully, still somewhat awed by her presence. "I just tried to help, Your Excellence." Seraphina's great head tilted, studying him with eyes that held the wisdom of ages. "For 3,000 years, I have led this academy. For 3,000 years, I have watched young dragons struggle with our ancient methods, believing that our traditional ways were sacred and unchangeable." She paused, and when she continued, her voice carried a weight that made Marcus realize he was hearing something profound. "The secret I have never told anyone is this. I have been searching for centuries for someone who could see what I saw but could never speak aloud. Our methods, while honored, were failing our children. We needed change, but change could not come from within our society. It would be seen as heresy, as abandonment of our heritage." Marcus felt the implications settling over him like a heavy cloak. "You see," Seraphina continued, "I arranged for your employment here. I researched human teaching methodologies. I knew that if given the chance, your species' greatest strength, your adaptability, would naturally complement our greatest weakness, our rigid adherence to tradition." The revelation stunned Marcus into silence. "Dragons are proud, Marcus. Too proud to admit we needed help, especially from a species we considered primitive. But a mother's love for her children transcends pride. I needed someone who could teach our young without threatening our elders' dignity. Someone whose success could be attributed to innovation rather than replacement of our ways." Seraphina's massive form somehow conveyed warmth as she continued. "You have given our children the gift of multiple perspectives. You have shown them that strength can come from admitting limitations and seeking creative solutions. Most importantly, you have proven that true wisdom recognizes value wherever it may be found." Marcus found his voice. "So this was all planned?" "The opportunity was planned. Your success was hoped for but never guaranteed. You earned everything you accomplished, Marcus Chen. You took an opportunity and transformed it into something beautiful." As Marcus left Seraphina's chambers, he realized that the greatest lesson hadn't been the one he'd taught the dragons. It was the one they had all learned together. Sometimes the most powerful change comes not from grand gestures, but from simple acts of seeing potential where others see only limitation. In the end, it wasn't magic that transformed the Draconic Academy. It was the most human trait of all, the willingness to try something different when the old ways weren't working, and the humility to learn from anyone willing to teach.